Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. We're so excited to have you back on our webinars. Today, of course, as you know, DP always brings out something very exciting, so we've got a really great surprise for you. But to start off with, not to say Caroline's not a surprise, she is a surprise, but we've got a bigger surprise if that's fair. So just to introduce you to Caroline. Caroline, hi, and welcome to our webinar today.
Thanks, Shelley.
Pleasure. So Caroline is from AHA Holidays, Hotels and Lodges. And always says, do we say AHA or do we just say AHA?
You can say AHA.
So the reason why we've got Caroline here today is for those of you that are aware and those that aren't, we're launching a whole domestic product with DP, which is really exciting. And today we thought we'd focus on two lodges that Caroline represents, which is in the Pilanesberg, and they are Shepherd's Tree and Ivory Tree, which are two beautiful 5-star lodges. So we're just going to have a chat about our lodges, and then we're going to move on to our next. So Caroline, can we have a little chat? So just on the two lodges, I thought what we'll do is we'll start off with Ivory Tree, if that's okay. And can you just sort of tell me a little bit about the lodge itself?
We'll do so. So Ivory Tree, obviously is based there in the Pilanesberg. It is surrounded by the Pilanesberg Game Reserve. So it's based in a U shape, so you do have the animals and all that type of stuff roaming around. Obviously it's fenced and all that as well, so they're not coming into the property, but a lot of the rooms you are able then to look into the park and able to see lions, elephants and whatever, so which is quite nice. We're based at Ivory Trees at Bagatla Gate. What's really nice about it is that it's only about a 2.5-hour drive from Tambo and about 2 hours from Lanseria, so it's nice and close and that, you know, just to get away and out of Joburg. Ivory itself is it's the bigger one of our lodges. It's 67 rooms, which is quite big, but you don't even notice the people being around it all either, so which is quite nice.
And Caroline, so you can also fly into Pilanesberg, am I correct? And then
that's correct, yeah. I'm not 100% sure because the flights keep changing. Obviously, our airways also keep changing. So, but there is, it's only about 30 minutes or so from Ivory Tree. We can also organise for transfers to pick people up if they need to buy our vehicles.
Oh, fantastic. That's brilliant. And then obviously talking about the fact that it's a 5-star experience, and does it offer Big 5? I mean, I suppose that's always going to be a question that agents are going to ask.
Yeah, so it's lovely. It's really, really nice. It is a Big 5 game park, the Pilanesberg. You also go in open game vehicles on your drives as well, so which is really, really nice. Obviously, with the COVID now, we have reduced the number of people on packs onto our vehicles, which is also actually quite nice. So you're not crammed with 10 people on your vehicle anymore. So we'll go down to about 8 or 6, depending. Obviously, if it's a whole lot of friends going together, we're quite happy to put in if everyone is
together. Yes.
And,
yeah. I mean, is the lodge family friendly? Do you accept children? I didn't ask you that actually before, but I think it's quite an important thing. You know.
Yeah, so we do with our breakdown of our rooms, we've got 60 standard rooms, we've got 2 family suites, which is quite nice. So the family suites actually has a main room and then 2 single beds in it for 2 children. We've got suites as well that can sleep 1 child. We obviously do game drives. We only allow children over the age of 6 to go on game drives. We do organize bush bumbles. Obviously, if it is a whole lot of friends and family all going together, we would put children on there if they want to that are younger. It's not really that it's dangerous. It's just that if you've got other guests with you who've left their children at home, they don't really want to be on a game drive with other kids.
Absolutely.
But we would organize something or see what we could possibly, how to assist them as well.
So like a special request as such.
Yeah. And you can also hire a vehicle if you want to do an exclusive drive.
Oh, fantastic. Yes. Because I think going forward, that is something we want to push is kind of like family getaways or friend getaways, you know, come together where it's just safe for to give COVID, you know, like that. So, and then Caroline, just to sort of speak about the food, obviously that's something everybody always wants to know. What is the food like? Is it, you know, 3 courses, 3 meals? What's included every day?
Yeah, so obviously with COVID, it has also changed a bit. So I'm going to talk about the old Ivory because I'm not 100% sure how the sort of food situation would be now. But our dinners are, obviously it's included in your price are all your meals. So it's your breakfast, lunch and dinner. And then it was a buffet styled dinner or breakfast or lunch experience where you would have 3 courses.
Which we don't know now whether it could be set meals as such.
Yeah, it could be set meals, but obviously you would have 3 courses included in all your meals.
Absolutely. And then the stunning picture we have on is of the spa. So is that a separate area? You know, obviously it's not, is it sort of attached to any of the rooms, or is it just completely separate in the lodge that you go to?
It's at the bottom of our lodge. Obviously it's inside the lodge. It is part of Ivory Tree Game Lodge itself. It's called Amani Spas. This would be an extra cost if anyone wanted to use it. All rooms are facing into the game reserve as well, so which is really nice. So anything can come in from past. It's beautiful. It's really remote. It's an absolutely amazing experience to have.
Exactly. And then let's talk about Shepherd's Tree as well. So I always get confused between saying it's Shepherd's Bush, but it's actually Shepherd's Tree.
Shepherd's Bush. So.
Yes, exactly. And also just to sort of chat a little bit, what is the difference, would you say, between the 2 lodges, just to start off?
The difference, obviously, is Ivory Tree being a larger lodge. It's 67 rooms, when Shepherd's Tree is only 31 rooms.
Okay.
So the size is really a lot different. We do find that we have a lot of groups going into Ivory Tree, but it makes no real difference when you're there, because you don't really see anybody. You know, so you go to a room and it's not like all the rooms at Ivory Tree are on top of each other. Shepherd's Tree as well, it's very spaced out. I mean, it's 1.5 kilometers up and down between the main area to all the rooms, and they separate. So sort of an exclusive, if you wanted to get quieter getaway, I would suggest Shepherd's Tree.
All right. And also 5-star experience, game lodge, you know, the whole story that we've spoken.
The whole thing. The thing with Shepherd's Tree as well, it's on its own concession. So it's about 5,500 hectares of its own concession before you actually start getting into the Pilanesberg. So you've got no cars really driving, not that Ivory does, but you don't have cars. So no other game vehicles are allowed into our area either. So which is quite good. So you are able to see quite a bit on your own as well.
So that's a really nice, exclusive, intimate experience compared to maybe a bigger lodge. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I just, you know, I sort of wanted to talk about the fact that Big 5 experience, I mean, you know, it's good to know that there's something so close to Johannesburg. You know, if you look at your Big 5, we always kind of think of Timbavati and that. And, you know, is it you can never guarantee you're going to see all the animals, of course, but do you find that it's pretty good with spotting and things like that?
Definitely in the Pilanesberg, I must admit. I mean, I've been working for the company for probably about 13 years. I was involved in when they started building Ivory and Shepherd's Tree. And in those years, now, the game viewing is unbelievable. I mean, there's what you see, the leopards. I mean, the leopards are just producing as well. The lions, the elephants, all those types. So your Big 5, you really, you know, the buffalo are coming out a lot more than what they used to. So the viewing is actually, I've had a couple of really good viewings there, better than what I've had at the Sabi Sands. So
fantastic. So it is really a Big 5 experience.
Definitely, yeah. So it's a lovely experience.
Brilliant. And then just sort of to end off, I wanted to ask you, is there anything special, anything you can sort of put out there for agents at the moment that you think we'll be able to launch? Thanks.
Sure. We're actually doing a voucher system at the moment, which we would obviously discuss as well, where we are allowing vouchers to be bought now at obviously domestic rates, which are valid for a year, which is quite nice. So for Ivory and Shepherd's Tree. Just so these people have got something to look forward to, and the price is good, and you know, it's quite exciting.
Absolutely. And we'll obviously chat going forward. So just to remind all the agents that you can book both these lodges through us directly with, you know, development promotions on our hashtag #WildWithDP. And thanks, Caroline. That's absolutely fantastic having you on board, and thanks you for your time. And we are now going to introduce, so we found our very own live game ranger, which of course is very exciting for everyone. So Caroline, I'm going to swap over now and bring Ruan in, our game ranger. We'll chat later.
Bye.
So I think he's on a game drive.
That's it.
There you are. Hello. Hi, Ruan.
Hi.
So thank you so much for joining us today. I think it's so exciting to actually have a game ranger with us, and we thought we'd look at it from a completely different experience. You know, it's all good and well to sell lodges and talk about properties, but I just wanted to talk to you and sort of see what your job entails and what it's like to be a game ranger and that. So any agents, if you've got some chats for Ruan or questions, you can ask him. He's always up for a good chat. So you're welcome to put it on there, or Q&As. We'll answer as we go. So Ruan, I just wanted to, obviously the normal question anyone asks is, what made you become a game ranger?
That is quite an often question. Hi guys. I would say my parents really exposed me to this type of setting a lot when I was younger, especially my dad. He loves the bush setting and everything. So that was really a big influence in my life. And the problem with becoming a game ranger, there's not really a proper, how can I say, a proper sort of university you can search for and stuff like that. So it was quite difficult to find something to become and to get qualified for it. But I would say yes, my parents definitely a big influence in that. And I mean, I'm loving it ever since. It's great.
Oh, brilliant. And how long have you been a game ranger now?
Well, I was actually, I was elected the youngest game ranger in Pilanesberg when I started there. I've been running on that, I think, for 3 years, and I think the new youngest guy just beat me now by a couple of months. But yeah, I've been doing it for quite a while. I've been doing it for about, 7 years, 6 years. Yeah.
Brilliant. And have you only worked in the Pilanesberg then? Because you said 3 years, so it's just been in the Pilanesberg.
So I started in Pilanesberg, and then I moved to a reserve called Madikwe Game Reserve, which is really good as well. But to be honest, I actually moved back after 2 months because I just missed it so much. So I would say mainly based in Pilanesberg, yes.
Brilliant. And I mean, just let's chat about the game in the Pilanesberg. I mean, that's a good point that you've made, that you went to Madikwe, where I would imagine everyone thinks it's Big Five, and that's kind of what you go for. And Pilanesberg, in my mind, I sort of think, do you see game in that? So do you want to sort of chat to me about that and what the game is like?
Yeah, so it's like, I'm going to add to Carolyn, the leopards in Pilanesberg is just crazy. I mean, at the moment in this lockdown, there's 3 leopards with tiny cubs even. So it's not just normal leopard sightings, it's actually quite good. Big Five, really good. When I just started, I was working at Shepherd's Tree. We had a lion pride of about 24 lions. So I mean, the gaming is really exceptional. It's something that people don't know about. It's a very underrated place. I went to Madikwe, and in those 2 months, I saw 1 leopard. If you in Pilanesberg, if you stay a couple of days, the odds are pretty good that you're going to see a leopard. So Big Five gaming, really good. Like Carolyn said, the buffaloes, they used to hide. The summer months, they would migrate up to the northwestern side. But like she said, they're really showing themselves a bit more.
Oh, fantastic.
So yeah, definitely gaming. My fastest Big Five drive I did, that's getting a whole Big Five in one game drive, was about 1 hour and I think 37 minutes.
Wow.
And, so that's keeping in mind that you have to spend time at the sighting as well. I mean, I can't just tick it off and just drive away.
Yes, exactly.
So our first sighting of that day was actually a leopard with a cub 2 minutes into our drive from Shepherd's Tree's lodge. So it was great.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And is that you with a camera with long hair in this picture?
No, it's not. It's actually one of my good photography friends. I took a picture of him. We always get this whole competition, get a picture of me with the animal. So we were in a great elephant sighting. I thought, man, I'm lined up perfectly to get him in the mirror of it. But people do confuse us sometimes. We do look quite similar.
Brilliant. And then, Ruan, if you sort of talk, I would imagine a lot of people are always interested to see what a day is like for a game ranger. We kind of, if you go to a lodge, you see the game ranger on a game drive, and that's kind of where it is at. Is there a lot of preparation? Yeah. Do you spend a lot of time in conservation as well? How does it work from your side?
It's a very often question I get, and I think it's a very uninterpreted or misconcepted thing. They think that you do the safari and you go home and that's a great job. It's actually a very long day. I know the rules at Ivory and Shepherd's Tree. We usually do an hour before departure of game drive. We start prepping. So that's everything in the mornings. That's everything from getting blankets ready, food and everything, coffees. I know at Ivory and Shepherd's we do hot water bottles in winter as well. So that has to be prepped before game drive. So yeah, it takes some time. So yeah, we do the game drive, then come back. And then depending on the guest, if they are departing, we help with luggage and stuff like that. And you just say goodbye to the guest, a nice departing message. And then a thing that we really pride ourselves in at Ivory and Shepherd's Tree is that cleanliness of the vehicles is very big in our eyes. I've told a lot of guides, and I'll keep telling them, that a guest is not going to realize the vehicle is clean, but they are going to see it if it's dirty. So rather keep it clean and stuff. So all of those things fall into our day. And then obviously afternoon, we have to prep and then hosting at evening. So yeah, but the nice thing is we do it for passion. So it doesn't feel like a long day. It's a nice long day.
And you meet people and different people all the time. So, sorry. If we go on that question, what happens if you've got international guests? I mean, have you ever had it that they don't speak English, or is it normal that people speak English? I mean, it sounds like a silly question. But
no, it's a good question. And a lot of young rangers stress about this, and I stressed as well, because I mean, a part of our job is to educate people, and if you can't educate, what do you do?
Yes.
But what I've learned and what I've told the rangers is that if you show your passion on game drive, and if you have a great sighting or stuff like that, passion is an international language. It's a universal language. You don't have to speak passion. If you show passion, it's like, if it's infectious, it just rubs off on you.
Yeah.
And what I've told them as well, if you have your best leopard sighting in your mind, if you just can recall that, I mean, you can't remember anything the guide said at that point, because that experience there was just incredible, that it's sort of the information was irrelevant, although we love to give you information, but
exactly.
So I would say the experience of the whole safari thing and the passion speaks volumes if there's a language barrier. So definitely,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then how do you feel about fauna and flora? Just sort of thinking of that, what happens if you've got someone who just wants to see bird sightings, because that can happen as well. Does that affect the game drive, or are you quite comfortable with that?
It becomes a bit of a juggling act if you have that has been on many safaris and you have one guest that maybe wants to do bird photography.
Yeah.
So it does become a bit of a juggling act, but it's definitely possible. Pilanesberg is a very great area to do it. It has an amazing scenery. So if you have a bit of a quiet drive, it's just amazing scenic area. Very beautiful plants and even bird life. I mean, Pilanesberg has well over 300 bird species. So you can keep people entertained on if you don't have the mammals around. So definitely,
yes. Excellent. And I just want to mention that all these photos are taken by you, and I know you've started a bit of photography, or are you doing photography now sort of more full-time? Do you want to chat about that? Because they're absolutely incredible photographs.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I actually took them from the internet. I'm kidding. It is my own picture. Like I said to you guys before, about 90% of what you see on these images was all in Pilanesberg. At Shepherd's Tree. All the pictures are in Pilanesberg. I was never really into photography, but when I started working at the lodges, some of my mates were photographers, and I sort of wanted to try it out. I mean, what better place to do it than in nature? I mean, you have the opportunity where other people play on that scale of maybe not. I'm there every day, so it's definitely something I love to do, and I want to pursue it a bit more. It's a big passion. I would love to start doing photographic safaris.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, and I mean, you really do capture a moment there. Hey? When you do photographs, it's just so different to just sightings.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
And then, can you sort of highlight a memorable experience? I mean, do you ever sort of remember something, saying, "Oh my goodness, I saw this or saw that"? Is there something that kind of jumps out of you? Something really?
Yeah, it is a question we get a lot from the guests, and I do try not to say, because the expectation level rises a bit then. But I do have a couple in mind. One of my favorites, I just started at Shepherd's Tree, and I'm always late. To me, it's about consistency, and I'm consistently late. So what happened on that day, we actually stopped at one of the watering holes for a drink, sundowner drink. And just as I set the table out with all the drinks, I heard a weird noise. It was like a bird chirping noise, and that gets rangers really exciting, because that means the wild dogs might be in the area. So I told them, let's go, because they make a bit of a chirping sound. It sounds very weird. Doesn't sound like it should come from that animal. But we jump in the game, we run off, and like I said, we're at a watering hole, and there's a little slipway to go down to the water. And as I take that slipway, there was a lioness standing with a young wildebeest in her mouth. So I mean, really amazing sighting, but I still had that sound in my head of the wild dogs, so I knew they were in the area. So as I looked to my left, I saw the whole pack of wild dogs running away. So what probably happened is the wild dogs came in, they killed the wildebeest, the lioness stole it. And what I'm going to say now sounds very far-fetched, but you can actually go Google it. this article made it into the newspapers. So as we sat and watched, a crocodile came out of the water and challenged that lioness for that piece of meat. So from wild dogs to lions to crocodiles, it was just a whole amazing experience. It was great. Yeah.
Absolutely. Sure, that's something to. You could never even write that in a story without.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's what I said. And when I tell the story, I tell people because it does sound far-fetched. I mean, if somebody tells me, I'm going to be like, yeah, it's like that fishing thing. You caught this big fish. But if you go Google a life in the day of Ranger Ruan, that picture is in that article as well of the lioness with the crocodile standoff.
Fantastic. Yeah. I'm sure the girls are Googling a lot right now, Ruan, let alone just those pictures. So I don't know if you've seen, there's a few stories where, of course, the girls are asking, are you single? But I think we'll deal with that different. I mean, just now, hey? Let's leave that to the end to see if you're available to be handed out. And then from a game drive point of view, do you go off-road, or are they quite strict in Pilanesberg, sticking to sort of routes, or can you go off as a sighting sort of, off the beaten track?
So, the thing about Pilanesberg is, I don't know if you guys have been there, it's a very beautiful, it's a very mountainous area, so there is rules, we don't go off-road, but the animals in Pilanesberg are sophisticated. They walk on the road, so we don't need to go off-road.
Oh, goodness, okay.
Now, the thing is that it's a very rocky area, so even if they do allow us to go off-road, I don't think it would be ideal. It's very rocky. Like Carolyn said about Shepherd's Tree concession, it's not written in stone, but we do go off-road on Shepherd's Tree. It's not really, they don't really want us to do that, but they have a really beautiful open plains where the cheetahs like to go. And I would say the Parks Board tolerate us going in that open field. So yeah, so to an extent, but in the main of Pilanesberg, no, not at all.
Okay. I mean, have you ever had an experience where you've kind of been, not dangerous, but maybe dangerous, where you've sort of been out there and something's happened, tire burst, something like that, and you've had to really think on your feet? Has that ever happened, or is it?
The tire burst one recalls another one, actually. But yeah, so I've had quite a few experiences when I had to get out of the vehicle at a line sighting to change the tire. This happened 200 meters from Shepherd Street Gate. So yeah, that was a memorable experience. But I think the worst one for me, but people have to remember, we're working with wild animals and you can prepare as much as you want. But I mean, that one day you're going to get around the corner and you're going to be faced with an elephant bull that's sexually active. So I mean, it's not something you can anticipate. Yes. So my worst or my most frightening experience was actually an elephant sighting where we were on our way back to the lodge and we got this beautiful breeding herd of elephant crossing the road. So immediately, that's really great. But out of the corner of my eye, I saw a big elephant bull, which is not usually in a breeding herd of elephants. So immediately I thought it's probably in that sexual active state, so just be cautious.
Yeah.
He crossed the road in front of me and he turned around and started charging straight. No hesitation, nothing. So now you have to remember, this is at night. It's on a road that has a lot of S-bends. It's not a straight road. So now I have to reverse that whole road back while this elephant goes. So that, I think it was because I was young in the industry, I was stressing. And what I like to tell the guests, if I'm not stressing, you don't have to stress. So they didn't see me stress. My leg was shaking. My leg was really shaking. But luckily, I got a big enough gap to get away, and yeah, nothing really happened. It was a memorable experience. But yes. Yeah, that's yeah.
So that's quite incredible.
I do see there's a question on the Q&A. Any problems with poaching?
There is a question. Any problems with poaching? That's quite a good question.
It is a very good question. It's sort of a double-edged sword because of the one thing, we have a lot of poaching. Pilanesberg is probably one of the best areas in South Africa at the moment to view rhinos, black and white rhinos. They have a really amazing population. If I say that, I don't want to jinx myself, but if you sometimes get 5 rhinos in one drive. So it's really an amazing privilege to have these sightings. So because of that, and because of it being so close to Johannesburg, it does attract a lot of unwanted guests. So I don't know if you guys have seen, but Carte Blanche did do a whole show the other day because they dehorned a lot of the rhinos in the park just to prevent that. Okay. So yeah, poaching, it is subsiding a bit. We've gone down considerably from past years, But yeah, it's going to be there for a while, and it's a problem in any point. It's not something you can get away from. Yeah.
No, and it's very sad. Hey? Do you get involved in conservation at all then, from a point of view of a ranger, or not really?
Like I mentioned before, we do this out of passion mainly, or the people I come across. But yeah, we do like to get involved in those things, whether it be firefighting if there's a natural fire, or fence patrol. I know the rangers, when I was working at Shepherd's Tree, we were really involved in the fence line patrol because we had our own concession. So we took it in ourselves as well, just to make sure that the fence is clear and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We do. If we have time, I mean, we have a really full day, so when we have time, we do like.
Yeah, you do that. Gail asked another question and said, I don't know if you're aware of elephants dying in Botswana. I don't know if you're aware of that or what that's about.
Yeah, it's I think it's close to 400, 500 at the moment. Yeah, it's quite devastating. I saw they tried to figure out what it is. It's a couple of things. They say it might be poison in the water, but if it was that, more animals would die. So I'm not sure. In my opinion, I think it's a disease targeting just elephants, or something in their immune system. But people must understand as well that it's not always a bad thing to have that. I mean, Botswana has one of the biggest elephant populations in the world, and this is basically natural selection taking place. So the weakest genes are dying off. So yes, it is devastating to see 400 elephant carcasses, but for years to come, the better gene is existing on. So they're still investigating. It's not a conclusion on why it's happening, but yeah, it is sad.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for your input on that. It's interesting. And then what else can I ask? So I suppose the biggest question, Ruan, is what happens when guests flirt with you? Because I'm sure, as Caroline said earlier, khaki fever. These women go in these house and get khaki fever. Yeah. How do you handle that?
I think there's just something that, I mean, you're working in the bush, you're tanned, you're in uniform, you're working with wild animals. So it is inevitable to happen. It's going to happen. I would say that the first step is to get phone numbers and room numbers. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. What I've told a lot of rangers is you have to remember you are representing a lodge. So I would say go into it in a professional manner. It's difficult because you are representing a lodge, and it's a very big industry, but it's a very small community. So
yeah,
you don't want to ruin your passion for something as simple as that. So I would just say, just act in a professional manner with mind you are wearing the lodge's logo on your chest. So yeah,
100%. So we can't put you up for auction then, because we thought anyone that books with us in the next 2 weeks, we're going to auction you out and have.
Oh yeah, I think we can do that. Yeah, do it. Maybe do an exclusive drive or something.
Yeah, you'll do an exclusive drive around Pretoria at the moment.
We'll do a whole bush experience.
Exactly. Ruan, there was another question from an agent. She just wanted to know, is the best time to see game in the Pilanesberg? It's from Felicia. Is it May to August the best months to see wildlife? Obviously being winter months, or do you think that doesn't really matter these days?
The nice thing about the Pilanesberg Game Reserve is that any time of year you can have different type of sightings. I've had exceptional sightings in summer, and I've had exceptional sightings in winter. The thing about the May to August is that the grass is very short, or it's dry, so it's very the vegetation is just a lot easier to see through. So you can see a lion walking in a field much further than usually.
Absolutely.
But what people forget is that in summer months, in the summer months, Pilanesberg has a summer rainfall.
Okay.
If you give a lion the choice to walk in summer in the wet grass or on the road, he's going to pick the road because it's a much drier surface for him to walk on.
Okay.
So though in the winter months you can see a lot further, the vegetation is a lot less. In summer months, I see the animals, in my experience, are a lot closer to the roads. They like to move around a bit more, stuff like that. I mean, the cats, for instance, they have to remark their territories after the rain because the urine goes away. So you see a lot more cat activity or moving around, and especially on the roads in the summer months. So it's all to preference. If you don't like the cold, then go in summer. If you don't like the rain, then go in winter.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you actually have a tracker as well? Are you on your own on the game vehicle? How does that work?
The thing with the tracker, it does help. I've had trackers before when I was working in Madiko Game Reserve, but I think the industry is changing. To me, a tracker is sort of like a gimmick, I would say. I mean, when we go through training to become a ranger, part of your curriculum is actually track and science. So, for instance, I have a tracking qualification, so I can do my own tracking. So lodges are sort of going away from the tracker thing because they can get one person that can do two jobs. So I can see where it is helpful in an area where you do off-roading a lot.
Yes.
But in the Pilanesberg, we don't use trackers. And I think the lodges are going to start moving away from that. Like I said, it's a gimmick. The new thing on the block is now walking safaris. Yes, everybody wants to do walking safari.
Yeah. And do they do that at Pilanesberg? Do you offer walking safari?
Yeah, we do offer it. The nice thing about Shepherd's Tree is that they have that private concession. So you have that beautiful private area that you can do walking safaris in. Even from Ivory Tree's side, they do it as well. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, Ruan, so let's just see, there's another question. Goodness, they're not leaving you alone today, hey? When do the lodges plan to reopen for business? So that's an important question. I know I'd sort of chatted to Caroline a bit earlier. I don't know if you know anything about that, but Caroline had said they're hoping October. Have you?
Yeah, we are. I'm keeping an eye out. I'm hoping for sooner than later. I mean, the lodges they are ready. They have all their protocols in order and everything. So yeah, like she said, I think September, October, that area, we are hoping for sooner. I mean, the industry is suffering a bit. So I don't have a proper answer on that. I don't think the government has a proper answer on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have to wait.
Sad but true, hey. And then that was the question. Sorry. And then Ruan, so at the moment, are you basically just staying? I know you mentioned to me in Pretoria, and then when you go back, obviously you're just waiting for them to call you back, and then you would go back to the lodges to work permanently there again. Is that sort of how it works?
So yeah, that's I think a lot of rangers are just sitting around. When the lockdown hit, I was actually creating a business last year that manages lodges and hospitality social media. So although I'm sitting at home, I'm still doing that. We're still doing photography and posting on all the social media sites. So I'm trying to keep busy in these times. They did ask me to go up to the park to help with a conservation project as well.
Okay.
So I might go up a bit earlier than I was hoping for. So yeah, I'm trying to keep busy, but at the moment we're just waiting.
Yeah, it is. It's very tough for all of us, I think, unfortunately. So, and Ruan, I mean, can I add you to my little black book in case an agent, wants to know where to find you? That's an important fact.
You have my number.
I have your number exactly on speed dial. So, Ruan, thank you so much. I don't know if there's any other questions that anyone wants to ask. Let's just wait a second and see. No, it seems okay. But really, we appreciate this so much. It's just your own time you've given to us to come on board and chat to us. And I think it's been fascinating to see it from a ranger's point of view and how different it is. And you guys are guests and you kind of don't see behind the scenes of what really goes on. So thank you for your time.
I think it's not something that people,
absolutely.
I think it's something that not a lot of people really get to see, is that the behind the scenes side of us. So yeah, I'm glad you gave me the opportunity to join in on this. It was great.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ruan. Have a lovely day. And wait, there's one more question. Oh, hold on. What color are your eyes, Ruan? I mean, really?
What color do you want it to be?
Yeah, what color do you want it to be?
So I have the weak gene. I have brown eyes.
Okay. But I say they can pretend, hey, whatever eyes they want.
Exactly.
Ruan, thank you so much. It's been absolutely incredible chatting to you, and we'll catch up again sometime.
Definitely.
Hopefully on a game drive. Yeah, hopefully.
Definitely, yeah. Great.
Have a lovely afternoon, and we're going to go off now. And of course, I am now going to do my famous recipe. And I suppose all of you thought, during lockdown, how many of you actually made a banana bread? Because that is so South African. And I'm sure we all actually went ahead and made banana bread, but I just don't know what all the fuss was. So I'm going to make banana bread today because I think it is something that will just bring back memories about pure lockdown days. And I know for banana bread, you need pure butter. It's very important that you have good butter. So we take a bit of good butter, and I'll put a bit of that into, just bear with me guys, because I'm just sorting out my butter. You know, you've got to really do this properly. And what someone said to me as well in a recipe, you need bananas, obviously. It's very important if they're very ripe, but I found a really nice banana because I think it's important to have a banana that you can cut up quite nicely without it being too mashy, because that for me is not really so cool. So I'm just going to add my banana. So you've obviously got your butter, you've added your banana, and there we go. And then I've put it on a slice of bread. So as far as I'm concerned, that's banana bread. And let me just taste it. Oh, delicious. So I really do understand now what all the fuss was. So thank you everyone for enjoying our webinar with us today. I hope you had a good time. Sorry, I've got a mouthful of banana bread. It's been great spending time with you. And if anyone wants any details about Ruan, you give us a shout. Have a lovely afternoon.